option. We're going to be reviewing 3 different things on these options today. The first one is the installation process. How easy is it to install? The second...
Restart. It messed up the audio. Let's pick it up from the beginning.
Alright, are we live?
Yeah, there was a technical...
Alright, technical difficulties. We'll start from the beginning because the audio, we're good to go though?
Yes, we're good.
Alright, from the top. Hi everyone, I'm Tech Bob. Welcome to eTech Facebook Live Fridays. Today we're reviewing 4 different screen protection options. Those are going to be Axiom Armor on the far right, Protection Pro in the center, tempered glass, and then we have a liquid glass option. To review these today and give them a fair comparison, we're reviewing 3 different points. The first one is the installation process or ease of installation. The second is the look and feel, so how much does it alter the use of the phone after putting it on there. And the third is going to be durability. So what we're going to do is go through the installation of each of these options one at a time, and then when we get to look and feel and durability, we'll compare them all together. So we're actually going to switch the cameras over, and if you haven't noticed, on the bottom bar we actually have the items, the SKUs for the items we're reviewing today. Starting off with Protection Pro, we're going to grab that, and the SKUs up there, 667-001. I'm going to move some stuff slightly around, and then we're going to switch cameras. If you can switch that over, Scott. So Axiom Armor is a film screen protector option, and what I mean by that, it's not glass and it's not a liquid you apply, it's an actual film that you cut. So I'm going to try to show the machine underneath the camera. And specifically, so Protection Pro and Axiom Armor both have the matte option, which is what we're going to be looking at today. So I'm going to be running through Axiom Armor. I'm going to talk about the key points related to this machine, and then we'll cover the same points related to each of the other options. So first off, the cool thing about this machine, everything is built in, so you don't need to connect a device or anything to it. When you turn it on, I have already turned it on, it takes probably about 15 to 20 seconds to boot up, not a whole lot of time, but it boots up. You do have to connect to Wi-Fi, that way it can pull updates for the models, and then you select it all here on the touchscreen. So we're going to hit Phone Film, and today we're reviewing all these options on an iPhone 7. We wanted it to be consistent, so not have different variables affecting the performance. So they're all iPhone 7. So I'm going to go to iPhone, and you see it has all the way up to the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I want to say that the files were available within a month, or maybe even less than that, when the phone came out. So that's the cool thing about these screen protector printer options. The models are updated with software, so you don't have to wait for a physical product to be shipped to you, a new product. So you can take the same film you were using for, say, an iPhone 7, now you can use it for an iPhone 14 Pro Max. So I'm going to scroll down because I'm not doing an iPhone 14 Pro Max. Find my iPhone 7. And then you'll see that we have different options for the cuts. Is that showing up there, Scott? There might be a slight glare, but basically there's different options here. There's matte, which we'll do matte since that's what we're doing right now. You have UV for the different types with cover. That usually means if you have a case, what it does, it doesn't cut it as far to the edges, which does kind of expose the edges, but the case should protect that. If you don't do with cover and you're putting a thick case on your phone, that case can actually cause the screen protector to come up. So we're going to do matte. And then before I hit send, we need to load the film in. So the way we do that, the film has an edge right here where it says feed this direction. We put it in the machine, it'll kind of sense it and pull it in. Just like that. Once it's loaded in there, you can't really see this because it's sealed in, so you'll hear it. We'll see if the audio will pick up. We're going to hit send. And there we go, now it's cutting. I would say overall the cut takes less than 30 seconds, if that, and that's pretty much for every model. So as far as the running the machine part, I would say you're, from start to finish, you're looking at less than 5 minutes because of the turning it on, setting it up, and then running it through there. Once it finishes, it'll update here on the screen, which is almost there. There we go. So cutting done, and then the film is free to grab. And you'll typically know it's free to grab whenever the film is free and out of the machine. Don't ever grab the film while the machine's still going because it can cause an issue with the cut. So that's a everything as far as the machine use goes, again, the overall machine, I would say, takes up the space of maybe 2 feet by 1 foot. So you don't need a whole lot of space to set this up in your shop. I'm gonna put that to the side, and that was the machine part. Now I'm actually going to install the film. The machine actually comes with this cool mat that helps hold the film still while you're installing the film protector, or the screen protector. And a couple of tools I would recommend having for this is a good microfiber, just to clean off any fingerprints or smudges. Some tweezers to peel out any parts that aren't going onto the phone, and some air. So this can be used to just get some of the bigger particulates like dust out. You can use a compressor too, but air works just as fine too. So before we install this, a couple of quick things I want to mention. When I put the film in the machine, you notice I just put this whole thing in there. That's a cool thing about Axiom Armor is it's all in one. You don't have to attach the film to another piece to run it through the machine. You just put it through like this. What we are going to do before we install this film is basically get it to the installation point. So we're going to remove everything but what we're going to be using. So I'm going to take out the entire edge here. So all of this we're not using. Oops, got stuck there. And I'm also going to peel out, there is a piece where the earpiece speaker grill is and where the front camera is. That's not going to be going on, so I'm going to use tweezers to just pull that out. And then same thing goes for the front camera piece. There we go. So another cool thing about Axiom Armor, it actually has a dust sticker built into the screen protector, and the installation is a little bit different at first, but when you start doing it, it becomes a piece of cake. So you actually pull this entire thing off, and you'll see it feels kind of thick when you're first working with it. And this will show you, like I actually had a piece of that earpiece speaker part still in there. Just want to pull that out. All right, now, as far as alignment goes, you're using a couple things. One is the ear speaker, and the other is your home button area. You want to make sure you get those as aligned as possible, and then you just push down everywhere so it sticks well. Axiom Armor also comes with these squeegees of different sizes. For phones, usually these are the good ones to use. This is more for like a tablet or a bigger device. We're going to use these smaller ones. We're just going to push this down. So you see a ton of bubbles right now. I don't know. Let me see if I can zoom this in just a little bit. There's a ton of bubbles right now. Let me turn that light off. There we go. But that's the dust protection layer. So what we're going to do is actually peel it up from the corner, and then we're going to squeegee out that bottom layer. So we lift that up. You can use a spudger for this or something else with a thin plastic point. I would not recommend metal. So you get the halfway point there, you flip that over, and then you squeegee up. And what that's doing is taking out the dust layer and installing the actual protector layer. And you can use this squeegee to get out any type of air bubbles. Then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom side. Lift that up, and then squeegee that bottom layer out. You may notice right now that there's actually some bubbles still there. The feel here isn't matte yet, and that's because there's actually one more layer to pull off. So again, we're going to use I'll use my fingernail here, but you can use a spudge or anything else. And that's the final layer. So technically, there are about 3 different layers of plastic here. We have the dust removal layer, we have the top layer protecting the actual film, and then we have the film itself. So again, you can use the squeegee here to get out any type of little air bubbles that are left. You can squeegee pretty much anything out. I would recommend that when you lay it down, you try to avoid having any big air bubbles, but either way, just with the little work of the squeegee, you should be able to get anything out. And there's our installation. So as far as the installation goes on this one, pretty straightforward. Again, I do prefer that dust protection sticker because it makes it to where you don't have to clean up as much with a microfiber or air. But that's it for the install of Axiom Armor. So I would say overall, aside from the cutting part, and about another 5 minutes for the cutting process, or sorry, not cutting, but installation on the phone. So I'm going to put that one to the side, and we're going to move on to Protection Pro. So Protection Pro, I'm going to try to show the screen. Actually, we don't really need to show the machine in the... Actually, Scott, can you grab my phone? Or yeah, can you grab my phone? I forgot I'm going to need my phone for this. So Protection Pro, speaking of how it works, it does have a screen built into it, but you cannot run it with just the machine alone. You actually have to use a device. So that can be an Android device, an iPhone, a tablet, anything that can connect to the machine via Bluetooth. Originally, the machine did have to be plugged in, but now it can be used with just Bluetooth. So I'm going to open up the Protection Pro app. So that's what it looks like right there. Protection Pro does require scanning of a barcode to use the film. So we have the film right here. This is the barcode from Protection Pro. We have our barcode on here. This is more of a QR code. We have our barcode on here as well for inventory purposes, but this is what you're going to need to scan. So make sure you don't damage that QR code, because then you cannot use the film. And then we're going to grab the mat we need to install it, which it's hard to show in here. Or maybe, yeah, Scott, switch over real quick so we can show a bigger view. So this is the mat for Protection Pro. There's actually two of them. This was the original one. You had to use stickers to stick the film down. This is kind of a peel and stick material. And what you actually do is, over time, if it stops being effective, you can use a microfiber and a little bit of water, and that'll adhere it basically. It'll get the adhesion back up so you can keep using it. I'd say we've had this mat for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and haven't switched it out yet. So works pretty well. So what I'm going to do on the app, we can switch back over, Scott. I'm going to go back to Protection Pro. I already cut an iPhone 7 on this one, so it's saved there. You can also save devices on your favorites section. So if you want to save all your iPhones, or the ones you commonly know you do, this is a great way to do that. I'm going to tap on iPhone 7, and then same thing here. You're going to have a variety of cuts. The additional thing that these film machines can do, not just Protection Pro, but Axiom Armor 2, is back films. And I'll bring that up because you have all these options here. So you see full body, logo cut. You can use the clear film for the back too, or you can use the different ones that are like carbon fiber, gradients, leather, things like that. But what we're going to do today is just the front. We're going to hit search. Oh, you actually need to make sure the machine is powered on. You can hear the machine in the background. Should come up as soon as it boots all the way. There we go. Express 3 is what we're using. It's connecting to the machine. It shows you a preview of what you're cutting. We're going to hit OK. And then here's where the barcode is important. So it's going to need to scan that barcode. Scanned it. And it goes through all the setup options on the machine. I will say both of these options, Protection Pro and Axiom Armor, have very good support information. Protection Pro has been great. They have a Facebook group. They have all kinds of videos and guides. Same thing goes on the Axiom Armor side. So you have everything you need to basically run it from there. And we've also been using it a while, so we'll support it if you do purchase it. And have any questions, we'll be right there to help too. So what we're going to do next, before we keep going on the phone, is get the mat ready. So I'm going to move my mat over, and we're going to align it with the small section. There's different sizes of films. When you're dealing with phones, you're typically going to be using the small one, and that goes all the way up to like the 14 Pro Max series. If you start dealing with, I would say, the Galaxy Fold phones that are a little bit bigger, you may have to go up to the medium. But for all the basic size phones, you're going to be using small. So I'm going to take the mat, I'm going to load it into my machine. I'm going to hit load on the machine side, and then over here on the app, I'm going to hit next, next, and it's basically going through, make sure you align it with the rollers, make sure it's pressed down. All these steps are important to make sure that it cuts correctly. We hit that load button already, we're going to hit next, and now we're going to hit cut. And you're going to hear it in the background. You may see this mat on the side move. And it's actually cutting it right now. And while it's doing that, I'll talk to these machines. So this is great if you don't want to carry a million different pieces of protection. So as far as like tempered glass go or cases, This is great because it's on demand. Say, like as I mentioned, a new model comes out, you now have the option to cut it. Say someone comes in with a one-off Android phone like a Galaxy A50, and you don't have the tempered glass for that, you can cut the film for it here. So we're gonna go and hit this one finished up. I'm gonna move on, hit continue. I'm gonna hit unload. And you can see, it's a little bit hard to see on the mat. I'll go ahead and pull it off, but it does just peel off of here. You do want to make sure you get all the way underneath the film. You don't want to peel off just one layer of it, but it's detached there. I'm going to put that mat to the side. And same thing goes on this one. You want to remove everything that you're not installing. It just makes for an easier install. So I'm going to take that, separate it. And you want to be careful to not accidentally peel up the center part, which is what you will be using. We have that right there. And then I am going to have to peel out my earpiece speaker area. So with my tweezers. You do want to be careful to not stretch the material, at least the stuff that's staying there. So for example, the around the speaker area, the camera area, does have another little sensor right here. We got that out. So now we're going to grab our next phone. Again, I'm going to clean it off a little bit. So this one does not have a dust protection sticker built in, but it does have something that helps with that. So this is what we refer to as a wet install. So you actually use the Protection Pro installation gel. It's safe to use on a device because it's non-conductive. You obviously don't want to flood your earpiece speaker or any openings in the device, but you want to make sure you get enough on there because what it does is it helps you shift and align, and I'll show you what that is in a second. But as far as putting it on there, what we're going to do is wet the tips of our fingers, so when we're interacting with the material, it doesn't get dust stuck to it. It'll actually kind of glide with our fingers. We do want to use some canned air here since we don't have a dust sticker to remove that. So we'll get that clean. I'm going to spray some of this on the tips of my fingers. Then I'm going to peel the film off carefully, and again, I don't want to stretch it. So anywhere there's like a weird cut, so your home button area, your speaker area, you got to be careful. Peel that off. We're going to spray it, usually about 3 to 5 times is good, just to get it fully saturated like that. We're then going to lay it down. And again, the liquid helps with the alignment, so see how I can move it around. There we go, alignment looks great there. So as far as installation goes, what we do is make a line down the middle. What that does is help keep our film still from gliding around with the liquid, and then we squeegee out toward the edges. Again, you just have to be careful around the speaker area, camera area. You can use a microfiber to kind of dab off excess liquid. And as far as the install goes, I think I mixed these stickers up. This is not Axiom, so Axiom is this one over here, which we had already installed. This is Protection Pro. This mat is really great. You can see it keeps ripping these stickers off, which I think I'm good to not use this mat anymore. I'll put that to the side. But we have our Protection Pro on the right, and we have our Axiom on the left. Again, they're both matte finish screen protectors, which have a pretty good feel and look to them. We have everything installed. I have a couple bubbles that are kind of popping up here and there, and again, those can be worked out with just a little bit of pressure with a squeegee or your finger kind of rubbing them around. But those are those two. Those are installed, so I'm going to put those machines to the side, and then I'm going to move on to tempered glass. So installation-wise, out of all the options, I would say tempered glass is one of the oldest ones that's been used because it's been out for that long. I'm going to open up our tempered glass pack real quick. And this does come with everything you need to install it. In this little pack right here, I'll open that up real quick. You have a wet wipe, a dry wipe, some dust stickers, and a little microfiber cloth, and a little squeegee. So if you don't already have a microfiber at your shop, compressed air, or anything else, as far as those tools go, it does come with it. All I'm going to do here is wipe it clean. I'm going to take the protective sticker off of the tempered glass side. And as far as alignment, if you grab it at the edges, let me move a little bit closer. If you grab it at the edges and line up your earpiece speaker area, then your home button area, and just drop it, and then just touch down the middle. It's a pretty cool effect. What that does is it pushes the air out to the edges, and you get a pretty much perfect install by just doing that. Again, if you have little air bubbles here and there, you have to kind of work them out. So got that installed. Put that one next to the other options. And the final one we have is our liquid glass screen protector. So this one I only had one of as a sample to test out. This is the one option we're currently not offering because we do offer Axiom Armor, Protection Pro, and tempered glass. If there is enough interest in this, it's something we'll look at bringing on. As far as comparing these four, when it comes to look and feel, so the liquid glass is basically non-existent. It doesn't look like there's anything there because it's a microscopic material that strengthens the glass that's already there. But there is no physical film or glass or layer over it like with the tempered glass and the films. When it comes to the tempered glass, that's the most visible one there because it does add more thickness to the phone. It is on the cheaper side, so I would say most tempered glass ranges from $1 to $3, so this is your budget side for sure. The liquid one, I would say ranges in the $10 to $20 range, so it has a premium price, but as far as protection, we'll let the test speak for itself, but it's a little bit different there. And then your premiums are going to be these films right here. As far as lifetime goes, in our experience, based on our use and research, the liquid screen protector has about a 90-day, so roughly a 3-month use period. And the reason for that is over time, that material kind of wears down on the screen because, again, it's a layer that's on that screen. It's not a physical item on top of it. So this one's about 90 days. When it comes to the tempered glass, we see roughly 3 to 6 months, so a little bit longer than the liquid option, but it does end up chipping, and it varies by user. So if you drop the phone a certain way, because the impact hits it and it has nowhere to go, it'll cause the glass to chip. Also with tempered glass, you might run into an issue with certain models that use ultrasonic fingerprint readers, such as the Galaxy S20 series and newer, and that's where the fingerprint reader is built into the screen. Because of that added thickness, it can interfere with it, and that's something you don't see with either the liquid one or these two film ones right here. And finishing off with the film ones, so the life expectancy for these is roughly a year plus. I've personally used one of these films on my phones for at least a year at a time before I end up having to change the phone or I upgrade a phone. I think I had one last the entire use I had of the phone before I upgraded. And they do come with the premium, so the retail recommended for these, if you're offering this to your customer, is in the $20 to $30 range. That's for these films, so Axiom Armor and Protection Pro. For the tempered glass, I recommend around the $10 mark because, again, it's super easy to install and it's not meant to last as long as the films. And then the liquid one, that one again ranges in the, I would say, $15 to $20 range depending on the cost of the product you get. But as far as look and feels go, just kind of continuing on that, because I did use the matte finish on the films, it looks slightly different than the others, but some people do like the matte finish. It helps in glare, especially like if you're out and there's a lot of sun, you can see this a lot easier. But as far as touch, it also helps prevent fingerprints. Your oils don't absorb as much into this matte material as they do with a glossy finish, so they're great for that. And then the tempered glass option, let me turn the brightness up on this one. Actually, let me turn it up on all of them so they look the same. There we go. So on the tempered glass option, it looks pretty close to the original, but again, you can see that border of the glass around it. If you have a case on that covers that border, it's not the end of the world, but you can definitely see that it's there. As far as touch goes, it's pretty close to the original because it has that glossy finish, so that's good there. And then the liquid one, again, virtually no difference at all in use or look and feel because it's a microscopic change, not a physical change like on these other ones here. And again, the whole point for presenting all of these is they are all viable options for you to offer to your customers. There's some customers that don't like anything on their phone at all. That might be a good place for the liquid one. There's some that want that value option. Tempered glass is perfect for that. And then we have the films where they want something they can put on there and forget that it's even there, and it does its job for a very long time. So again, you most likely have that customer for each of them. It's great to offer each of them. I personally, as Tech Bob goes, lean towards the films because of the premium protection you get. And that's kind of a segue onto our durability test, where we actually put these to the test and see what they can do. But I've personally been using the films, and they've been great for me. So again, if you have any more information that you need or questions, let us know. We'd be happy to answer any of that. But that concludes the look and feel section, and let's move on to the durability / torture test. So I'm going to be using a couple different tools to do this. Let me move the camera up a little bit, readjust. Let me straighten this up. There we go. And so this is my phone right here, and I actually have, I believe, Protection Pro on mine. I have the gloss finish, and it's hard to tell. Let me see if the light might show it a little bit. I do have some like micro scratches on there, and I don't care about protecting my phone with this on here, or that's the wrong way to say it. I put keys, I put knives, I put all kinds of stuff in my pocket with my phone because I know this is on here. So that's what I mean by I don't care about my phone getting damaged, because I have this protection that I know I can trust. So I'll put mine to the side. I'm not going to be torture testing my phone, but I just wanted to show that comparison. So these are the tools we're going to be using today. I have a hammer. I have 2 drills. So one with a drill bit and one with just a standard Phillips bit. And for the scientific test, I have an actual Mohs hardness test kit, which what this does is each of the tips are supposed to scratch at a certain level. So simulating a level 6 scratch, a level 7, level 8, level 9, and so on. So I'm going to start off with the hammer, which does our impact test. And again, just so everyone knows, and here I can pull these stickers off so it makes it easier to see. We have Axiom on the far left. We have Protection Pro. Whoops, I ripped that sticker, but we have Protection Pro there. We have tempered glass. And then we have the liquid protector. Some of these labels stuck a little bit more than others. There we go. So we have the liquid protector. All right, so let's do this one at a time. Start with Axiom. And I'm not trying to like full swing. This is a good test that you can do in your store though. Again, it simulates a heavy drop or impact. And that was Axiom. Let's do Protection Pro. Again, still good there. Digitizers work on both. Let's do tempered glass. Now I will say with tempered glass, I know I can get it to crack if I hit it heavily at a corner, because that's where it's less structurally sound than the center right here. But I'll save that for the Mohs hardness test, but good there. And then the last one is this liquid one. Had a weird digitizer thing there for a second, but still looks good. Touchscreen still works, so that's our hammer test. Are we still live, Scott?
Looks like we're still live.
Okay. Sorry about that. I think the hammer might have shook and loose a cable. So if we are not live, bear with us. But we're going to continue. We're still good? All right. We'll leave it going then. All right. Next, we're going to take our drills. So when it comes to the drills, what I'm going to do is actually have the phones off so you can see the film. Just going to take the Axiom first. So you can see a little bit of a residue there, but that's something that when your screen's lit up and using it causes no issue at all. And that would probably simulate having heavy keys in your pocket, like keys exposed and rubbing up against it. Let's do the same thing to Protection Pro. And I'll make this dark. Same outcome there. You can see it slightly, and it's hard to kind of see on the camera, but it's not causing any issues with the use or function of it, and your screen is still good to go. Let's do tempered glass. Same here, you can see it scoring on there, but again, no issues with it cracking or the functionality. Let's do liquid last. Oh, turn that off. So I can see some scratching on here, and the biggest downside to this one showing scratching is I can't remove it. So these right here, I have a tempered glass, I have a film I can just take off and it's scratch free. This unfortunately now has scratches on it, and if you reapply it, sometimes the liquid protector can fill in those scratches, but it's not a 100% guarantee. So that was the drill with a Phillips bit. This drill bit is definitely going to mark more because it does have a point. I believe this is a wood drill bit, so let's use that. You can definitely see some more marking there, and if you wipe it, you can get the majority of it off. Another cool thing with these these film screen protectors, you can actually use a heat gun, very light heat, kind of like if you were maybe opening an iPad, and rebuff, or not rebuff, but use a squeegee to kind of work out those scratches, because it's an elastic material. It'll kind of reabsorb it and spread out. So you can kind of remove scratches with it. I'm not going to show that today. If you guys would like to see that, we can do that on a future stream, but that's something that you can do with these elastic screen protectors. So I'm going to use the Protection Pro now. Again, performs almost identical to the Axiom Armor. We have some scratches visible, but screen is still 100% intact, just like Axiom. We're going to do tempered glass next. Screen's still good to go, and you can start to see the scratches build up as I'm going through this. Let's do this one last. Again, the liquid one, there is no protector, it's just the hardened glass. There we go, screen is still good, but you can see those scratches there. And last but not least, we have our Mohs hardness test. So when it comes to Mohs, usually a 1 through 5 are like very, very light. So we have materials like copper and let's see what else is on the lower end, graphite, like pencil lead. Those things don't typically scratch. So we're going to start actually at a level 6. So I'm going to do level 6 across the board on these top, and then I'm going to move to 7, and then 8, and 9, and so on, so you can see the difference. So this is a 6. Again, you can see some scoring there. That's probably similar to the drill bit. I don't know if you can see it there. Which I'll pull it up once we have all the numbers gone through there, so you can see them in comparison. Same thing goes for Protection Pro as Axiom Armor. You can see it there, but nothing too bad. It basically glides on the tempered glass, but you can see the scratches at an angle. And these are things that I can try to show you on the camera, but it is pretty hard to see, but the scratches are right there. And then the last we have is liquid. All right, so that's level 6. Switch over to the other side, level 7, move down slightly. I do have to do a little more on the this one because it glides easily. Same thing goes on the liquid. On these two, I was going a little bit softer like this, or not necessarily softer, but change and going back and forth. This point can catch the film, so you do have to be careful with that. I actually caught it a little bit right here. We'll peel the protectors off of all these except for the liquid once we're done, so you can see how it protected the phone, but you are definitely able to see it more as it goes along. So that was, again, a level 7. And this is where it gets more serious. So level 8, you're definitely going to be able to see here. So an 8 can cause the tempered glass to crack, so you can see it shattered it right here. Let me see if I can get it a little closer. It did shatter the tempered glass. And then we'll do the liquid one last. Again, the scratches are present there. And the level 9, this is the basically worst it can get as far as scratches go. All right, so that's the Mohs hardness test. Looking at these, heaviest damage is definitely going to be the tempered glass, followed, I would say, by the liquid screen protector. And then I would say it's virtually a tie between Protection Pro and Axiom Armor because they are the same composition of material, or roughly the same. The issue I have here in all these is the liquid one. Again, I have these scratches now on this screen. As far as getting these out, there are some polishing options out there, but it will most likely only remove the level 7 and down. These level 9s most likely are going to stay, or it might lessen it to a level 6, but you won't actually get the scratch to go away completely. The tempered glass, and this is where I'll go through the removal of them, you can see it cracked right there. Am I in frame, Scott? Yeah. Okay. It actually cracked it right there at the level 8 and 9. I'm actually going to pull it off now. So I pulled it off. The good thing is, even though the tempered glass looks like this, your screen is still perfectly intact. So it did its job and protected it. And again, for that value customer that wants to spend $10 or sub $10, that's the way to go because, again, it's lower cost, but it does have protection. Protection Pro, we can see it on here. We have that damage present. We have the level 9s, the 8s. It does seem to glide on these a little bit easier. So like the 9s gliding on that, it doesn't seem as bad as a tempered glass, but let's go ahead and peel this film off. And I'll wipe off any type of residue there was from the liquid install. Screen's still perfectly intact. So that one definitely did its job. And then Axiom Armor last. You can tell it has really good adhesion when it's hard to get it off. Again, looking at it, perfect screen. So again, as far as good, better, best here, they're in that order from right to left. So your good would be liquid, your better would be a tempered glass, and your best would be the Axiom Armor or Protection Pro options. These films, again, if you ever have the leftover material, so say the stuff you didn't use, you can kind of feel this. This stuff is really strong, and what you'll end up kind of realizing over time is when something's elastic like this, if you have impact, because it's elastic, it lets that force kind of bounce around. When it's tempered glass, that's not elastic, so that's why it'll chip. That force will go to the edges and then crack. But this stuff is very, very strong. That's the Axiom Armor side, and then this is the Protection Pro side. Same thing, really strong material. And again, this film will last on your phone, I would say, for a year plus, depending on use cases. But again, very good options here. And again, that's pretty much all we had for today's stream. I know it was a good amount of info. We may do some branches off of this. Oh, we're going to switch over there. We good over there? Okay. Just making sure the camera, we're still good on this camera, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. So we might do some branches off of this stream, maybe more in depth on Axiom Armor or on Protection Pro or tempered glass. One thing we've had people suggest is tips on installing tempered glass, so we may end up doing that as well. If you've ever had an issue with getting air bubbles or dust or debris in there, we can go over that too. Some closing things from today's stream. We have a discount through the weekend for tempered glass. It's 30% off. There's nothing you have to do as far as coupon codes or anything special. It's just if you add this to your cart, it'll be 30% off. Next week's stream has not been announced yet. We're most likely going to be doing something on tools. If you guys have anything you'd like to see, let us know and we can get that on there. And then as a final closing thing, we hope everyone has a good Veterans Day. Thank you for all of those who have served, and we appreciate everything you've done for this country. That's all we have for today. So I hope everyone has a great Friday and a great weekend, and we'll see everyone on next week's stream.